Hello, beautiful people. Honest Am here, the creator of the Honesty Sis newsletter, a bi-weekly newsletter geared towards millennials who are truly trying to get their shit together. And I am here for another daily motivational video. So if you're tired of creating vision boards that never come true, this channel is for you. A little bit about me. I do not just use the tarot. I use gun cusses in the same sentence, and I may mispronounce some things, but if it does not stop Charlamagne and God, it will not stop me. All right, y'all, let's get into it. Feel so cozy in this. All right, God, what messages do you have for us to become the alchemist of our life, to bring heaven on earth, or just to do magic in public? 2 cards, please. If any of our ancestors, guardian angels, or beings of light would like to come in, know that they are more than welcome. Beings of light only. In God's name I pray. 2 cards, please. 2 cards exactly. And the 2 cards that came out is expansiveness, and I saw that card, angel number 1, and responsibility. And the message that I get right away is God is asking us to, God is telling us that it is our responsibility to do actions and to move in a way that will bring us expansiveness. If you want your situation to change, if you want your life to change, then God is asking you to take responsibility for that and to move in a way that will allow that to come about. So God, I'm actually going to ask God, what expansiveness is coming for us, God? What do we need to do? What actions do we need to take in order to bring about this expansiveness? Or what do we need to know about responsibility, God? Make it as plain as possible. What fortune is potentially coming for us to bring us expansiveness? Make it as clear as possible. What do we need to know about expansiveness? Actually, guys, switching it up. I'm glad I don't edit these, so you could just see angel number 208. Like, I literally just move as God tell me to move. All right, God, what blocks are in our way? What blocks are in our way of achieving expansiveness? What do we need to take responsibility for in order to achieve the expansiveness that we ultimately want? What do we need to take responsibility for? What blocks are in the way for our expansiveness? Make it as plain as possible. As plain as possible. 1 card, please. Self-worth with the grief at the bottom. Self-worth is all about our emotions. Right away, it's kind of like we see this spotlight and there's a little girl. There's a spotlight of this chair and a little girl. And I feel like there's something about us not wanting to step up in the spotlight. Or maybe you're scared to step up in the spotlight. Maybe you had a childhood of where you were talked about a lot as a kid, or you were picked on. And so it made you like self-conscious, or it made you just not really have like the best self-esteem. And so God is saying that is blocking you from really truly, like, it's like you really want great things, you want to be great, but it's like inside you're still feeling insecure a little bit. I actually have an article on honestysis.com, and I want to say it's called The Thing About Life. You could dive in our archive section. But it was just talking about how I recognized that I had to come to this point in my life where I had to remove all of that stuff about my childhood. Like, I was still carrying around that little girl that was being picked on, that, you know, that teenage girl that didn't fit in. Like, I was still carrying all that around me, even though I was in this space. And I realized that I can't get the expansiveness that I ultimately want, angel number 404, if I keep carrying that baggage from my childhood. And so I feel like that is what God is kind of saying for you. But I'm going to get some more messages to clarify. The orange cards represents our emotions and how we relate to them. In the second chakra, you can learn emotional discipline if you choose. You need to master the skill of steering your emotions as you would a ship on the high sea. This is very important in manifestations. So for self-worth, it says salmon chair. Salmon is the color of deep emotional peace. You have been given a gift of self-love. This card indicates a love of life and no longer trying to prove your value to others who may not see what you see. Rely on your inner workings. I'm going to hang it a little tail. Come sit in my chair and feel my love, says the great servant. The salmon chair appears to an intuitive child playing in snow. Valley and River are the salmon chair protectors. I never get to see it, complains River. Valley whispers, there are those who can close their eyes and see it. The child rushes home to tell the elders about the chair, but no one believes her and she lies down, exhausted. Later, the chair appears to her again. She climbs in and feels the great servant's love. People, events, and material objects beyond your frame of reference are being drawn to you. Aim higher, for you will draw even greater experiences into your life. Allow your energy to grow. Receiving is an action. How do I relate to the world, to the word deserving? Am I ready to allow myself to receive what others may not? So I love this message, angel number 559. So God is saying, if you want expansiveness, if you really want to go after your dreams, there's a need for you to look at your self-worth, to look at what you feel, do you feel worthy and deserving of the things that you ultimately want? Angel number 6. Angel number 6. All right, God, give us just a little bit more information. How can we overcome self-doubt? How can we know that we are worthy and deserving? How can we take responsibility of loving ourselves and getting that validation inwards without worrying about what others see or say on our outwards? Make it as plain as possible. Guys, if it's your first time coming to my channel, make sure you check out our monthly empowerment readings because these are very similar. God is saying for some of you guys, there's a need for you to go through hermit mode, close the computers. You're doing a lot of comparing yourself to people on social media, and he's asking you to kind of like just close the computer, stop the comparison, and to just really focus on where you're going. He's asking you to go head forth and passionate towards your dreams. If you allow yourself to stop comparing yourself and to just live and go after your dreams, then expansiveness will ultimately come for you. That's for some of you guys. For other of you guys, you need to close the computer, stop comparing yourself to others, and make stronger barriers. Have stronger energetic barriers. Don't allow anybody to talk to you any type of way. If there's toxic people in your life, cut them out. If you do that, then you will be able to get the expansiveness that you ultimately want and deserve. All right, God, final message. That makes sense. But ultimately, God is asking you to completely die to this cycle of worrying about what other people's things, die to this cycle of constantly getting approval and constantly seeking approval and acceptance from and just to focus on where you are going. Put your attention into your craft, into seeking people, like-minded individuals. If you take responsibility of dying to those old way of being, if you take responsibility for closing those tabs of your computer, to stop comparing yourself to others, to really just get focused on your visions, focused on your craft, and putting yourself in environments that hones your craft, then you will ultimately get the healing and the growth that you deserve, the expansiveness that you ultimately want. Let me give you one final message, God. It's also asking you to walk away from these sneaky people. Walk away from people that make you feel like you have to tiptoe around them, and get yourself in an environment that makes you feel safe. All right, God, what is a blessing that you have for my beautiful audience to help them to get to help them feel deserving of the expansiveness that they want? God, how can you help them overcome this cycle of constantly comparing themselves to others, constantly comparing themselves to social media, and get them to just focus on their craft? How can they set stronger boundaries, God? Make it as plain as possible. One card, please. I love this. The blessing of just being. You may have been thinking that if you act or chosen differently in the past, things will be better now. But in thinking this way, you fail to see the positive effects your past actions and choices have on both yourself and others. Look closely and you will see many. And so what God is saying, what he wants you to do in order to get this in order to get this expansiveness that you ultimately want and deserve, God is asking you to take responsibility on how you see yourself. Take responsibility of your emotions. Take responsibility of how you relate to others. Like, are you being dictated by, are you being dictated by what you see on the internet, or are you going inwards and just focusing on your dreams and focusing on the things that are true for you? God is saying that if you allow yourself to die to that old way of being, if you take responsibility for your self-worth and start loving yourself and start nurturing your projects, then that blessing of just being you will naturally take you to greater and broader horizons. Underneath this, God is saying a crystal clear blessing. You are soon blessed with clarity. Your destiny is calling and your soul is shining. It's infinite wisdom. You are blessed and protected and guided in all that you do from this moment. So God is asking you to go ahead, die to that old cycle, die to those old ways of being, die to the constant comparison, take responsibility for your self-worth, and know that you are deserving of all of the expansiveness and going after your dreams. And take this blessing of a crystal clear vision. A crystal clear blessing. I fumbled that ending, but you get what I'm saying. God is asking for you to turn away from constantly comparing yourselves to others, to know that you are worthy of going after your dreams just by being you. All right, y'all. That is all the messages I have for you. If it was a blessing, please give me your key takeaways below, or if you made it at the end of this video, at least give me a thumbs up. Until we meet again, dream those dreams. Never let the internet rush you, and never ever let someone tell you what you cannot do. Choose wisely, create consciously. Namaste.